Afternoon. My name is Haworth. Today, I'm a firefighter paramedic with Bozeman Fire and a rescue tech with the Gallatin County Short Haul team. But 10 years ago, I was a 21-year-old snow science student at MSU at the time who, to be completely honest, was kind of a cocky piece of shit and didn't really know too much about the work. And those in this crowd that worked with me back then could probably attest to that. I was patrolling at the YC to get some actual experience in the middle of my undergrad. That day, I had requested to shadow a group of researchers and Darren into Cedar. I wanted to pick their brains on the career field, find some good snow, and mostly just stay out of their way. That day became the most impactful turning point of my life, not just in my career, but in how I define what it means to be a professional in the mountains. The first turning point is the importance of training. We often hear the cliche that in a crisis, people rise to the occasion. That day proved to me that the opposite is true. When Darren was caught and we shifted from a group of skiers to a rescue team, I didn't rise, I fell. I fell back to the level of my training. At the time, I was a volunteer with the Haworth Fire Department doing pit crew CPR drills until they were muscle memory. We were doing the required weekly beacon drills at the YC, and the weekend prior, I had participated in a full avalanche evacuation drill with the SARS Hasty team. Because of those quality drills, the transition from seeing the slide to a burial retrieval to cardiac arrest to a complex backcountry evacuation involving most of the patrol that day was all much more manageable in the moment. It felt like it was going into some sort of autopilot mode. My cognitive load was lower because the routine was high, and it kept me from fumbling the response to a colleague and friend's death. But there is another side to this. If you don't master your skills with the regular reps, it's a lot easier to fail when the stakes are highest. A case stands out to me when I was a brand new medic. We were called for an ice climber who had fallen and suffered a traumatic brain injury. We climbed up to him, treat him, while we were waiting for a helicopter to get there. As his injury progressed, his breathing became more erratic, and eventually he became apneic. We needed to secure his airway immediately so he could be ventilated during the hoist and transport back to the hospital. I got tapped by the senior medic to go for the intubation attempt, and I missed. I had to be rescued by my senior medic, who is not here, thank God, and who got it on his first try. It was a tricky situation, using headlamps and firelights, roped in on an icy slope, and getting blasted by the ship's rotor wash. But the difference wasn't talent, it was the fact that his training floor was a lot higher than mine. He had the reps to handle the chaos. Those moments are what constantly reinforce this rule for me. We don't train until we get it right, we train until we can't get it wrong. Second turning point, the risk versus consequence. Before that day in 2016, I was pretty risk tolerant because I hadn't truly felt the weight of the consequences. After we lost Darren, my perspective on the mission flipped. In this room, we all know what the work you do is. The deep field days, the remote forecasting, the constant exposure, it's all inherently risky. But there's a difference between the necessary risk required to gather data and save those lives and the unnecessary risk we take when we let our ego or our desires for turns get the best of us. That day was my turning point from being a skier to going towards a professional. I stopped focusing on the quality of turns and started obsessing over the quality of the safety margin for my patients and my team. I realized that being elite in the mountains isn't about pushing the terrain, it's about pushing our situational awareness. It's about the discipline to identify every risk, mitigate the ones we can, and crucially, acknowledge the ones that we can't. This shift is ultimately what led me into pre-hospital medicine and the fire service. I realized I wanted to be a part of a team who manages the chaos when the margins fail. Those pictures are from a bear attack that we responded to several summers ago, where a elderly male got his jaw ripped off by a 10-foot mega bear. And my mother told me that was actually a risky situation afterwards. But it's, you gotta accept the ones that you can. third turn is the community. The final turning point was realizing that professional development isn't just about beacon skills or medical protocols, it's about the community that holds you together afterwards. The support that I received from the snow science program, the YC patrol, and the people that I had never even met in these emergency services in this mountain community is what really got me back into the mountains and in this job. In the field, we talk a lot about getting the job done. We don't talk enough about the fact that loneliness and isolation is kind of a killer. I saw this again more recently when we lost Travis Swanson. Our heli team saw her as a whole, and the mountain community became much closer because we had to. We all lost a teammate, colleague, and a friend. Just like after Darren's call, we spent the following months supporting each other in different ways, climbing and skiing together, hitting his old workouts until we puked, drinking at Sidewall Pizza until we get kicked out, and continue to go on calls together just as Trav would. Professionalism isn't just your skill with the beacon or laryngoscope, it's how you show up for the person standing next to you guys after the gear's put away. And so, group on the left is unfortunately who's going to be coming to help you guys if you call 911 tomorrow and the next day, so keep that in mind. And group to the right is the Gallatin County Heli team back in 2021. They took a lot of pictures that day, and they insisted that be the one to represent us for years to come because I look like I'm curtsying on the right of it. They're not very nice. So, if you guys take anything away from the last 10 years in this work after Darren's call, let it be this. First, train the full rep, don't just simulate it, do the full medical scenario, do your beacon searches in the worst conditions, and identify your nightmare scenarios and regularly drill them with your team. When those bad calls hit, you'll fall into those drills. 2, respect the consequence. Everyone getting home to their loved ones is infinitely more important than the powder or protecting your ego. And 3, watch your team, reach out to the people that you work with, make sure they feel the support, because that's the only way we stay in this game for a long time. Thanks for the invite and time, and thanks for what you guys do.